What really excites me the most right now is the co-living space. Our country's been in a housing crisis, and for quite a while now. When people hear housing crisis, they think there's not enough homes. That's not the issue. It's the affordability. Most working class Americans cannot afford to live in one of them for co-living. I love the fact that I can invest in an asset class, make more money than I ever would in a long-term rental and be able to help people out. Maybe they're empty nesters. A lot of it is like traveling nurses, transient workers. That's where we're at right now with co-living. He kind of gives the analogy of short-term rentals, right? Airbnb 10 years ago and how quickly it blew up. I want to ride that wave up to the top.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show. I'm your host, Erika, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by Lance Riggen. He's a powerhouse in the real estate scene. And Lance, I know you've got an incredible story, so I'm excited to dive in. And also, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Erica. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I love talking all things real estate, you know. Um, so yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, let's get started. For our listeners here who, aren't that familiar with you yet, give us the rundown. How did you get started in real estate, and what was the moment for you that you decided to go all in?
Yeah, that's a great question. I dropped out of high school, and I never got a GED or diploma or anything like that. I'm one of those guys, right? And yeah, I just went, started doing construction with my family, stepfather, my uncle, and ended up meeting a guy on a job site who gave me an opportunity when I was in my early 20s. That opportunity was multi-level marketing, and but it was cool. It was the first time I saw something out of construction and out of the rat race for me and my girlfriend at the time, who turned into my wife. But I joined and I got excited and I learned that I could educate myself through books and podcasts and cassette tapes at the time. Yeah, I'm dating myself there. But, so I started listening to this positive affirmations. I started getting into books, like amazing books like John Maxwell, Winning with People, books like How to Win Your Friends and Influence People, The Millionaire Next Door, all these cool books, you know, about becoming a better version of yourself. And it started resonating with me and I started getting around people. And that was really it. I ended up getting my first property. I had my own granite and tile business in Oregon and ended up flipping my first house. It's been probably almost 12 years ago now, about 2015. I'd say, well, it's probably 2014, 15, somewhere in there. Anyway, yeah, ended up getting my first property. It was all creatively, none of my own money. I found a private money lender who actually that was the guy that owned my shop, and a really cool guy, and had a handshake deal with him, and he gave me $100,000, to do my first deal. And so we were off to the races. We did our first fix and flip on the side of working 10, 12 hours a day at our shop. So, that's really something important that people need to understand is
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
if you want to build a legacy and change the course of your family's future, you've got to make some serious sacrifices and time and activities. Both of those are, you're going to have to really take a good look at your life and what you're doing and where you're spending your time. I got a really sad statistic for you. People, not just phones, but people spend an average of 6 hours of watching television every day in America. And that stat blew my mind when I found that out. Those are the things I'm talking about. People say they don't have time, but you've got to just make the time if you're serious about making an impact. So that's kind of where we started. And we did really well on that first flip, but things transitioned. My wife and I went through, some crazy stuff in 2020, right? COVID hit. We were doing good. We had flipped a handful of houses on the side and paid off some debt and some tax debt. So that was really sweet. But COVID hit. Everybody was, I had a lot of pressure. Everybody was stressed. My wife came to me and read me and the kids a letter one day and said that she was basically needed some time away. Completely blindsided me. And so that day changed the course of my future forever, because I had two choices to make. One, let her go and give up. Two would be, to fight for her. And I chose to fight and do everything in my power to win her heart back. And that was an incredible journey. I'm actually writing a book about it now. Hope to have it finished by the end of this year. I've got a publisher lined up and everything called Fight for Her. But that really impacted me and it broke me. And when you're broken and at rock bottom, that's when most changes occur, right? And so I decided to learn how to listen better. I decided I wanted to learn how to hold space and just be there for her. I decided that I was going to learn how to love her and her love language, right? All these different things that I started learning and researching and having really good conversations with her, because we still owned our business together, right? So she just wasn't gone. I had to see her painfully every day, knowing that she wasn't really mine anymore. And man, that was hard. But it really, those things really changed it on the backside. I ended up winning her heart back after 6 months of that. And I was drinking in the evenings. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect, but I was journaling. I was listening to audiobooks. I was putting things into action that I was learning, just like I had done with real estate, just like I had done with my granite business, like learning, implementing, taking action, right? And that's the thing. And so we started having these great conversations, and she ended up giving me another chance. Praise the Lord, right? Because I wasn't really sure. And so on the backside of that, we decided I found out she was miserable at the shop. She was one of our lead sales and design, person. And she just was miserable there. And once I realized that, I was like, let's just sell it. Let's get out. Let's go full time into real estate investing. And so we listed it. We had a flip at the coast in Oregon that we'd put on the market and just got finished. And we just was like, you know what? Let's walk away. We ended up taking 6 months off, and it was too much. Okay. I think 3 months, 2 or 3 months would have been good. 6 months was, whoa, trying to get back into the swing of things was really hard. It took me a while. But what we decided to do was go to BPCon in San Diego. It's like the biggest conference, real estate conference in the country. Brandon Turner was one of my big idols and I would say mentors, right? He mentored me inadvertently. I followed him for a long time, him and David Green, and he had a big impact on me. I wanted to meet him. So I got to meet him in the hallway, and for the first time, I've met him a couple other times since then.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
In my community that I'm in now. But what happened at that event was like I heard about Pace More being the sub 2 in the Gator community and all this stuff, and I said, man, we got to do something creative right now, right? The market just hit its peak and was already coming back down, declining a little bit in 2021. So yeah, we did that. We joined the Gator community, packed up all of our stuff, hired a truck, and moved to East Texas to follow my daughter and our grandson, my 5-year-old now grandson, about 3 years ago this October. So we basically did what most people are terrified to do. We burnt the ships, burnt the bridges, right? There was no looking back. And, we went all in. And I have no regrets. That's one thing I can say that a lot of people won't be able to say is that I lived a life, without regret. Like, there's things that I would maybe change here and there, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be on my deathbed and look back and go, wow, I didn't give it a shot. I didn't put it all my effort cards in, all my cards in and go for it. Cause I did, and I have, and I will continue to do that. So that's something I want people to hear and really grasp, that concept of just going for it, cause you only got one life to live, and you might as well make it count. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. That is incredible, Lance. I want to go back to what you were talking about with the book that you're writing and all, just all the lessons that you've learned going through that. Maybe someone isn't, struggling with their marriage and that they're at that point, but still they're doing business with their spouse, and they got a lot of moving plates going on. They have their own relationship and they have their business. What kind of advice would you give to people who are dealing with that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm talking to one of our community leaders about getting a Zoom to just to showcase what my wife and I's day looks like and give people kind of insight and guidance, to what works for us and what has and has not worked for us. Right. What has not worked for us, I'll start there, is trying to push my partner into an area where she's not comfortable and doesn't want to go. I've done that many, many times with different multi-level marketing businesses that I've attempted to do before we really started seeing success. But that doesn't work, right? What doesn't work is trying to do everything yourself and overstepping your partner's boundaries, and in their lane, getting in their lane constantly, micromanaging, right? That does not work. What does work is having very clear paths and clear direction in who's doing what and who is handling what, right? And staying in that lane. So I'm basically the closer, right? So if we get on a call, we'll get on calls together. For example, she's better at acquisitions than I am. I'm a closer though. I can negotiate and close. She cringes at the negotiations, right? She's like, oh, she literally will like hand me the phone. They want to talk about the numbers, and so. But she's great at building rapport, great at, she's very empathetic, right? And so she's really good at relating to people, and I'm pretty good at it too, but that's her jam, right? So we get on a call, she warms them up, right? Tease it up, and then I come in and close them. And that's what I mean though. Like, we stay in our lanes. That's so, so important. Knowing exactly what your role is in the business and knowing what your lanes are. and staying in those. That's where you're going to find a lot more success, because if you start crossing over and somebody's communicating, and you're both trying to communicate to one seller, or another partner, it gets kind of murky. And then people get heated, and arguments happen, and excuse me. So yeah, so that'd be the best advice I could give you.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Making sure you have those clear drawn lines.
Yeah, and I think you are really applying that advice to your own life because you have a lot going on these days. You're, working on co-living spaces, raising capital, running a mobile home park. Out of all these ventures that you guys have going on, what excites you the most right now and why?
That's a great question. What really excites me the most right now is the co-living space. Because it's, I mean, our country's been in a housing crisis, and for quite a while now, and it's not really what people think, though. That's the thing. When people hear housing crisis, they think there's not enough homes. That's not the issue. It's the affordability is the issue, right? There's plenty of homes out there. The problem is most working class Americans cannot afford to live in one of them. They can't afford to buy one of them, right? Or even rent an apartment, especially in these big inner cities like Atlanta, Georgia, Nashville, Tennessee, Tampa, Florida, right? Those are some of the hottest markets in the country for co-living, because there's a high demand for low-income housing, right? So I love the fact that I can invest in an asset class, make more money than I ever would in a long-term rental, right? Convert this property into basically a small multifamily, and be able to help people out, maybe who want to go back to college. Maybe they're empty nesters, right? Maybe they grew up in a large family and they don't just want to live alone. There's all kinds of different demographics, that we target. It's a lot of it is like traveling nurses, transient workers. Like, we have a property in Louisiana. They're building that huge oil pipeline right now. They just started bringing workers out there. So guess what? My co-living property is getting all kinds of hits right now. Those are the type of people that we want to help. I'm big on just that whole, filling a need, right? So right now, and I could tell you this for a fact, my mentor, Pace Morby, who I'm actually friends with and I can text and call anytime, he's been saying this for a while now, and I'm really starting to see the writing on the wall that he kind of gives the analogy of short-term rentals, right? Airbnb 10 years ago, right? How hot it was, right? And how quickly it blew up. That's where we're at right now with co-living, right? We're at that early entry point where people still really don't know what it is. I talk to people all the time who want to lend with me, but they do, well, I just don't know what you're doing. And so right now we're at that pre-curve, right? We're on the rise, and it's just going to grow and grow and grow over the next 5 years until it starts getting saturated, like Airbnb, maybe 7, 8 years. So I want to be on that curve, right? I want to ride that wave up to the top. And so we've positioned ourselves in a really, really good spot time-wise, and with the investments that we've already done, right? We've got experience. And so we really didn't do well on our first two, right? And so we learned the hard way. That's, action is your best teacher. I tell people that all the time. You can sit on the sidelines and hope and pray and wait for the economy to be in the right spot, and the housing market to be perfect. That time's never going to come, right? I tell people all the time, hey, the best time to invest in real estate is always today, because it's true. You just have to have the right strategy. So co-living to me is one of the best places you could be right now in our current housing market.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting stuff for sure. Lance, when it comes to the co-living space, what advice would you give to someone who, wants a piece of that pie?
Hmm. Yeah, so we have active investments going right now, actually, for what I call private money partners or capital partners, and we're actually doing a fractional raise where they will fractionalize a lien position, so we can actually have multiple investors, unaccredited investors, as low as $10,000 entry in one lien position. So it's really, really cool. That's another one of those things that's really helping investors like myself be able to raise funds without going to individuals. And they handle all the taxes and everything else, the K2s that go out. So it's a pretty new concept most people aren't aware of, and it's fully legal, right? And so anyways, partnering with us on some of these co-living properties, we're always looking for lenders, people who want mailbox money, right? We do all the work, you write a check, and then you get checks quarterly, right? Quarterly checks back on interest. There's equity plays a lot of the times, depreciation. So there's a great opportunity here. This one right now, we're actually offering 50% equity, 50% depreciation, and 50% of the cash flow. So we're not greedy. We're not selfish. We want to build and scale this thing, and we need partners to do that. I apologize for the yucky. I'm getting over a cold and some allergies all hit at the same time this weekend. But yeah, it's a golden opportunity, really is. We've got a proven track record. We can show credentials. We can have you talk to other partners, so we're an open book. Transparency and communication is the key, right? For any successful transaction, in my opinion. And relationships are always going to be the most important thing for us. We always take care of our lenders first, no matter what. We won't get paid sometimes, right? Until they get paid, always. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, and we're going to get it. We're getting after it.
I love your approach with it, Lance. When you're, looking at these properties for co-living, how do you identify if they're a good fit?
Yeah, it's a great question. You're so good at this. Um, so some of the key factors I want to look for are I want to look for crime. I want to look for good school systems or good schools, right? But most importantly is the how close it is to hospitals, medical training facilities, those pipelines that I was talking about earlier. How close is it to the Amazon warehouse that's being built? Those are the things you really got to target. You really got to do your research and find out what big industry is moving into your area, right? Or is already started there that needs housing. And those are the things you want to look at. So um you can find out what rooms rent for in your area by a simple Zillow search, right? There's other ways you can do roomies, rents, roomsters, rent by the room, Craigslist, right? There's all kinds of different ways you can look for, kind of do some market research. And then you come in below, right? Rooms for rent is one thing. You can come in about the same price. It's usually in our properties, it's anywhere from 150 a week to 180 a week, right? And so this Atlanta property is going to be even more because we're going to have those uh full, like, basically little suites. So it's going to go for a higher rate, about $300 to $400 more a month on average. But those are the things we look at, and it's important to either work with Pad Split or a really good property management company. Unless you've got some really good experience, I would not recommend trying to manage this remotely, especially on your own. That was a huge mistake that I made. And we paid for it dearly out of our pocket. And so, so those are the things, right? Really doing your market research, making sure that it's a good market. You want to have major markets, big cities, not small cities, not small towns. That's really important to know. And we're not talking student housing. That's a big misconception. Oh, well, there's these places, I got a property right next to a college. I'm like, do you really want student housing? That's not really what we're doing, right? That's bigger risk, right? Because these college kids don't give a crap, right? And they're going to trash your place most likely. And you can do that, but they're not going to want to pay what working class professionals will pay. So our target demographic is working class professionals, right? Our first tenant in a property that we have in Indianapolis, it's a 4,200 square foot house. We converted it from a 4.2.5 to a 10.3. Right. And our first tenant that we had in there was a mom who had she was a empty nester. Her kids just both went off to college, and she wanted to go back to school, and she didn't want to pay a huge rent or a mortgage. And so she was our first renter. And that was pretty cool, right? Just hearing that, I'm like, oh, so those are the types of things we're looking for, right? To help those people. And the cool thing about it is, if I could just dig in a little more to the co-living, to the structure of it, a lot of people don't understand there's laws about how many related people can be in a property in most cities. And the way we get around that is we master lease the we create a master lease. So we lease the property from our LLC that bought it into a new LLC, and that LLC creates a master lease. And then you have the potential tenants where they're actually members. We call them members. So you create a new LLC and have these members as a 0.1% owner of that LLC. That way they're technically owners of the property, and the city cannot really stop you from doing that, right? It's a little loophole that was discovered by PadSplit. Probably not from them, but that's where I learned that. And so the cool thing about PadSplit too is they have a massive amount of money that they've been building. Mark Cuban invested with them. They just invested with Zillow, right, recently. I don't know if you've heard about that, but and then also, so that team of attorneys, I don't know of one case that they've lost, right? They've been battling a lot of cases in Fort Worth, Texas. They've been really cracking down on them, say, you can't do this, you can't do this. The problem is they'll make you stop, right? Renting to X amount of people and whatever. I think it's 4 in Texas, 4 unrelated people to a house. So you can't go beyond that unless it's written up properly. But they've won every single case, right? So no HOAs is a big one too, guys. Whew, I almost forgot that. You don't want to rent. You don't want to buy property in an HOA. You want to make sure there's ample parking. There's good transit. City transit's really close, right? And that you're close to something large employment opportunities. So yeah, that's pretty much it, right? The opportunity is golden, and it's there. You just can't be afraid to go get it. But there's a ton of information, people you can follow. Go follow PadSplit, right? There's trainings that people do all the time. I do a weekly Zoom. I talk about co-living and raising capital and building relationships and mindset, all kinds of real estate related stuff. So, yeah, always welcome to come and join that as well.
Yeah, awesome. Earlier, Lance, you had talked about the co-living expansion that you're working on in Atlanta. Can you share more about that? And are there any challenges that you see with that market and plans to tackle those challenges?
Yeah, not really in the market. It's the very close number 2 market in the country behind Tampa for co-living. So there's hundreds of thousands of people that need a place, and the numbers don't lie, right? For me, it's like the numbers have to make sense, right? This property in particular, the PadSplit rep my team was talking to said that if we didn't pull the trigger and buy this property, that they were going to buy it. And I was like, okay, you know, that was just, it just helped us make the decision a little quicker. And so, but yeah, I'm so sorry. So this property in Atlanta is amazing. It'll be my first one in Atlanta. I have friends in Atlanta though, so I'm excited to go out there. And I know one of the biggest fix and flippers in Atlanta. He's in our community, so I'm going to get him to come out to our little open house that we're going to do. But that property is great because our property management company is also the contractor, right? And the contractor owns 9 PadSplits himself, and he's done all the remodels himself, and he manages, I think, 50 others, right? So creating a team when you're building a business, Brandon Turner used to talk about this stuff all the time. I've read a lot of books about investing out of state. David Green wrote a book about it. And so you've got to build a team, right? You've got to have property management, you want to have a handyman or a contractor, you want to have an insurance agent, right? You want to have a realtor, right? And what else? I think that's it. But you got to have a solid team, boots on the ground, somebody to, to be able to relay messages to you. But super important, if you have that solid team, the deal isn't scary anymore because you've got a team assembled that can handle anything that comes up. So that property is going to be amazing. I think we're looking at overall cash flow, net cash flow between us and our investors is going to be about like close to $6,000 a month in that one property. It's pretty wild. Yeah. People are like, what? So you're basically running a small multifamily, but it doesn't have to be zoned for that. And that's the big pushback from some of the cities. They're like, you've got to get zoning, blah, blah, blah. And so they're like, no, actually, we don't, right? These people own the property, so they can live here. So, I don't know. It might be something like how Airbnb, has been getting cracked down on in some major cities. I remember before I left Eugene, they did that same thing in Eugene. They put they passed laws that you could not have an Airbnb on your property, or you couldn't Airbnb your property. You could have like an in-law suite, that people would do Airbnbs with. So I feel like it's going to be maybe something like that where big, maybe apartment owners, I don't know, want to put a kibosh on it, kind of like hotels were doing with Airbnb years ago. I feel like that is probably something we're coming up to soon. But when you hear guys like Mark Cuban, one of the richest men in the world, is investing in this model, Zillow wants to partner with these guys, like those are all really, really good signs, that they have some really strong backing. And that gives me confidence moving forward and investing in creating these spaces. So,
Yeah. Yeah, wow. What an amazing time to be in real
hmm
estate. The best time is now, but there's always something new and exciting going on.
hmm absolutely. Real estate's always, it's always an adventure. Every day's a new adventure. It never gets old. There's always something going on. And to me, to be a good investor doesn't mean you hit every deal out of the park. That's not what it is. It's learning how to pivot and learning how to solve problems on a daily basis, right? The better you get at solving problems, the better investor you're going to be because they come up all the time, almost every day. You know, I tell people all the time who are new at investing, oh, what if this? What if that? I'm like, no, it's not what if, it's when. When. It's going to come, right? There's going to be an issue, not what if, it's when, right? When is it going to come? We don't know that part, but we can prepare ourselves for, when it's going to come, because it's going to come, yeah, I tell people that all the time. They go, oh, so, if you're not risk adverse at all, like you're not going to do well here. You've got to have some, you've got to be able to take some risk. I mean, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, right? It's so true. So I know guys who are doing like converting churches into micro-family co-living spaces, cool things like that. Old hotel conversions, into micro-family spaces, adding little kitchenettes to them. But there's some big, cool things to do out there. There's the opportunities out there, guys. You just got to go get it. That's ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're not looking, you're not going to find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it, and just get in and take action and give it a shot. Get educated. Of course, I'm not telling you to just go and, piss in the wind, right? But get some education and get in one lane, try something out for 6, 7, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks before you try something else. That's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, hey, just try it, try it out, put all your effort into it, get some education, maybe get into a community, and then, within a few months, pull the trigger, maybe 6 months. But yeah, I mean, I know we got to end it here, but I talked to a guy last year on a road trip, okay, who's in this community, the Sub 2 community, and he hadn't done anything. He'd been in the community for like a year. He's like, man, and we had a similar background. We were both tile setters, right? I was a tile setter for a lot of years before I started hiring it all out. But So we hit it off, and I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool, right? Another tile setter. Wow, that's neat." And so we just kind of hit it off, and he's like, "Man, I'm thinking about pulling the trigger soon. I just, I want to make sure I got it all." I said, "Well, how long have you been reading books and educating yourself about real estate?" He goes, "Oh, about 7 years now." I was like, 7 years? Whoa, dude. And my wife was driving, and I was on because I do Zooms and calls when we're on road trips just so I can get, I mean, it's a great opportunity to keep working. So I usually will work and make calls and stuff. And I look and I tell this guy, I'm like, wow, that's the ultimate, right, version of analysis paralysis that I've ever heard. And I was like, man, you got to do something, man. Why aren't just take a step? And my wife she's like, "Oh, you can't tell people that." I was like, "Yeah, I can. I can tell people that because who else is going to do it? Nobody's told this guy. Somebody's got to tell him, and that's my personality. I love to tell people things that they don't want to hear, but they need to hear, because I'm just a real guy. You know what I mean? I don't, I want to really help people, and I don't. If you just tell someone and just tell them and blow smoke, right? Like their mom or their dad, you know what I do? You're just supportive and to me, I'd rather just hit them with it. It might hurt a little bit, but they're going to appreciate it at some point. And this guy Joe texted me the next day. He's like, "Bro." He's like, "You're so right, man. That hit me so hard when you said that." He's like, "Man, I'm starting to look for, he's like, "I'm going to start looking for leads for people and blah, blah, blah." But he started moving, so it was worth it. And I showed my wife, I was like, "Look, see, look." But anyways, yeah, don't wait too long, right? Don't get analysis paralysis. That's so important. Just make a move.
Absolutely. Well, Lance, this has been an incredible conversation. If someone listening today wants to connect with you, learn more about co-living, or maybe they want to attend one of those weekly meetings that you were mentioning, what's the
Yeah.
best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, best way is Facebook. If you want to reach out to me, send a friend request or follow me first. You can send me a friend request or follow me, and then right here, Lance Riggen, and then send me a DM. I have. It's not to brag, but I have like 1,200 friend requests that I won't accept anybody. So I want to get a message, right? So send me a DM first. There's just when you start growing and building a brand, you get bombarded by just random. So also at Lance Riggen on Instagram, right? I'm fairly active there, mostly on Facebook because that's where my community is. Yeah, I've got websites. I've got a weekly Zoom. You can find it. If you reach out to me, I'll give you my digital business card. And I think you guys will post some links, right? I think I posted a couple of those links. I don't know if they came through, but yeah, those are the best places to reach me.
So, well, Lance, I love your heart and hustle. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your strategies.
Thank you, Erika.
And for everyone tuning in, if you love this episode, make sure that you're subscribed to the Real Estate Pro Show. We've got more conversations coming up with operators like Lance who are building incredible real estate empires. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.